You're watching KPTS, Channel 8.
Production and broadcast costs for Sedgwick County Commission meetings have been underwritten by Sedgwick County. KPTS welcomes comments from the public on its broadcast of the County Commission hearings. Viewers are invited to write to County Commission Broadcast, KPTS, 320 West 21st Street, Wichita, Kansas, 67203.
Good morning. I'm Christy Zukovich. Welcome to the October 14th Sedgwick County Commission meeting. We are glad you're joining us today. We use this time to let you know about events going on around Sedgwick County. And Commissioners, I don't know if you saw the Twitter this morning or the news. Garth Brooks. After 18 years, he's coming back to Wichita December 4th and 5th in Trust Bank Arena. You know, we were host to him at the Kansas Coliseum, so how cool and how fun for us. So they have another bunch of activities going on, though, that we don't want to forget at the arena. We do have Thunder Hockey that is starting up on the 17th and the 23rd. We also have some basketball coming in December. Anybody know who's coming to play in December? Oh, you know. You guys are just teasing me.
I'll defer.
Well, we've got Wichita State on the 12th, and who's coming on the 19th?
K-State.
K-State. K-State. So, all right, December 22nd, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Of course, you can find all of those events on our website at sedgwickcounty.org. Commissioners, also to remind you that Exploration Place has a new exhibit called Design Zone, and they also have a special event called Spooky Science on October 24th. And, of course, today we're going to play baseball again, right? How fun for us that we're still in on the...
See, you're suited up.
I am. I'm ready. Got my lucky shirt on. So I thought, well, I first thought I might have a sing. And then I wondered if we'd have enough people in the audience to sing with us. And then I thought you might throw something at me if it drug on too long. So we're going to forego singing. We could always sing before executive session, so if you want to do the seventh inning stretch before we go into executive session, we could sing. I'll leave that up to the chairman to decide. But we're going to have a little quiz to see if you know your Royals trivia. Commissioner Norton, we're going to start with you.
Of course.
Named the Royal, drafted in 2007 out of high school. He's a third baseman, number 8, referred to as the Moose. A lot of people up in the stadium have the antlers and the foam antlers, so I've given you a little hint there, but you probably didn't need it anyway.
Boy, that's a really tough one. Mike Moustakas.
Mike Moustakas. So, yes, we're glad he is on the team. We're starting out good already. Commissioner Peterjohn, you're up. Name the Royal. He was a third baseman and a first baseman. He played 21 years for the Royals. Number 5, and his number was retired in 1994. We had the famous pine tar incident in 1983, and he was made part of the Hall of Fame in 1999. And there's a little hint for you.
I mean, I remember the pine tar incident like it was yesterday with Billy Martin. And you're obviously referring to George Brett.
George Brett. He is probably one of the most famous Royals, so yes, we couldn't leave him out this morning. Okay, we know we skip you, so we're going to jump on. All right, Commissioner Howell, named the Royal. He's a left fielder, number 4. He played for the Wichita Wranglers. Some of us got to see him play when he was here. He played college ball for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and he is a power hitter. And there's your hint. Alex?
I'm really glad I have some help up here. I need to phone a friend, but I actually think it's Alex Gordon, if I remember right.
It is Alex Gordon.
Yeah.
And if some of you may recall, maybe went down to the Wranglers and got to see him play before he got to be in the big leagues. So kind of a fun connection there. All right, Commissioner Unruh. Name the Royal. He's a first baseman, number 35. He's a left-handed hitter, and he got us a 2-run homer in the 9th inning of Game 4. And there's your hint. Eric?
He's the Haas. Eric Hosner.
There you go. So we've got, hopefully he'll play well again tonight and keep the bats moving. And
Hopefully they will all play well.
well, that's true. All right, you got to bring it home.
All right, Chrissy.
I'm going a little old school here.
I'll do it. Well, that's me.
Named the Royal. He was both a player and a coach for the Royals. He coached the Wichita Wranglers. He was a first baseman. He was number 20, and his number retired in 1995. And he is currently part of the Jackson County Legislature. So your hint is Frank.
Well, first of all, he was a second baseman.
Right.
Oh. See, I was checking
You're not going to
you.
get that past me.
Wow. Fact check.
But it was,
the manager for the Wranglers, wasn't he? Not the coach.
but it's Frank White.
It is Frank White. And again, he was here, and many of us got an opportunity to see him. He is still very active up in the Kansas City area, not only in politics, but also he has worked with the T-Bones up there. So pretty exciting to have folks who are still engaged. So I was really just testing you.
Did I pass?
You passed.
I told you I was old school, right?
I knew. I knew.
grew up listening to the Royals on radio. So
Yeah.
I know these guys.
That's old.
That is old. All right. Well, we have got plenty of things on our agenda. We want to get the meeting underway. We have Department of Justice grant to discuss. We have post-annexation for Goddard. And Eileen is here to talk about something that's important to all of us as county employees, and that is the holidays for 2016. So, Chairman Ranzoff, let's get the meeting underway.
All right, thank you, Christy. With that, I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners for October 14, 2015. Madam Clerk, first item.
Invocation to be led by Pastor Dave Fulton of St. Paul's Lutheran Church. Please remain standing for the flag salute.
Shall we join in prayer? We pause to be in thy presence. We pause in this moment to be present to thy wisdom. Wisdom as it comes to us in the words of Matty Stepanek, writing in the midst of the chaos of September 11, 2001. 11-year-old Matty writes, "We need to stop, just stop. Stop for a moment before anyone says or does anything that may hurt anyone else. We need to be silent, just silent, silent for a moment. Before we forever lose the blessings of songs that grow in our hearts, we need to notice, just notice, notice for a moment before the future slips away into ashes and the dust of humility. Stop, be silent, and notice. In so many ways we are the same. Our differences are unique treasures. We are a mosaic of gifts to nurture, to offer, to accept. We need to be for a moment, kind and gentle, innocent and trusting, like children and lambs, never judging or vengeful like the judging and vengeful. And now let us pray, differently yet together. Before there is no earth, no life, no chance for peace. Stop, be silent, and notice. In the name of all that we hold sacred. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor, for being here today. Madam Clerk, next item.
Roll call. Commissioner Unruh.
Present.
Commissioner Norton.
Present.
Commissioner Howell.
Present.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Present.
Chairman Ranzau.
Present. Next item, please.
Citizen inquiries. Item A, request to address the Board of County Commissioners regarding plastic recycling.
Good morning. Ron Holt, Acting County Manager. I believe we received notice from Mr. Brown that he could not attend today, so we need to
Skip over that, go to the
that
next item.
Yes, sir.
Next item, please.
Appointments. Item B, resolution nominating Kelly Bergeron for appointment to the Sedgwick County Stormwater Management Advisory Board.
Mr. Chairman, Eric Yost, County Councilor. This is a resolution appointing Ms. Kelly Bergeron to the Sedgwick County Stormwater Management Advisory Board. She has been nominated by the City of Goddard to fill a vacancy. Paperwork appears to be in order, and I would urge adoption of the resolution.
Commissioners, what's the will of the board?
I move we adopt the resolution.
I'll second that.
Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. And Kelly is here today, and so is Kelly Harlan, so we can get her sworn in.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Kansas, and faithfully discharge the duties of the office as Sedgwick County Stormwater Management Advisory Board. So help me God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If you'd like to say anything.
Just thank you very much for this opportunity. I will do my best to serve on behalf of the City of Goddard.
Thank you, Kelly, for your willingness to serve. And Madam Clerk, next item.
New business. Item C, post-annexation public hearing, City of Goddard annexation, ordinance number 707, as amended by ordinance number 729.
Good morning, Commissioners. Justin Wagoner, Assistant County Counselor. What is in front of you today is the post-annexation hearing regarding the 5-year service plan for properties that were annexed by the City of Goddard in 2010. And referring to the map that's pulled up on the screen, the properties with the green diagonal lines in them are the properties that were annexed in 2010. The bluish, grayish shaded area includes what are now the city limits for the City of Goddard. These properties are in the area generally described as West Maple and South 199th Street West. For this matter, your role is to determine whether the services have been provided by the city in accordance with the 5-year service plan. This matter will involve a public hearing, and the Board of County Commissioners will act as a quasi-judicial body. You should disclose any ex parte communications you've had on this matter. If you have become aware of any additional facts that you wish to have considered in this hearing process, I'd also suggest you disclose that on the record as well. By statute, 5 years after any annexation, the Board of County Commissioners is to review the service plan to determine whether the terms of the service plan have been met. Statutes require notice of this hearing be provided to the landowners whose properties were annexed. Those notices were provided. There were 16 total property owners, and they also received pre-hearing questionnaires. No responses from those property owners were received. The City of Goddard was also sent a pre-hearing questionnaire, and they did provide a response, which is included in the backup materials. The service plan requirements included public street maintenance, traffic calming and control, options for water and sanitary sewer service, some mention of solid waste collection, police protection, and then also fire protection, which would still be provided by Sedgwick County Fire District Number 1, and which their fire station is just to the south of the annexed properties. The city's services plan that was formulated in 2010 substantially met the requirements established by statute. The city's response, again, is in the backup materials, and to summarize, the city claims to have met the requirements of the service plan. The City of Goddard does have someone present today, and as I mentioned, there does need to be a public hearing on this. Unless you have any questions for me, my suggestion would be that you open the public hearing. If you've had any ex parte communications, again, that you disclose those at the start of the hearing in case there's any need for response by any of the property owners or the city, and then hear any response that they may have or any comments they may wish to offer on this matter.
Commissioners, do you have any questions before we open the hearing? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing in regards to the City of Goddard Annexation Order Number 707 as amended by Order Number 729. And ask, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this issue? I'll ask again, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this issue? Or I guess even the city if they want to speak, but...
Kelly Bergeron, Community Development Director for the City of Goddard. Just to reiterate the legal counsel statements, we feel that we have met all the requirements and made offers of continuing assistance to the current property owners. We've included a report in your packet, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have on the city's end. Thank you.
I don't think we have any questions. Thank you, Kelly. Commissioner Peter John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since we're in this situation, I'm going to make a motion that we have, that this plan...
I think first, let me close the hearing.
Okay.
I just want to, okay.
Getting the
Cart before the horse.
Oh, sorry about that.
All right. At this time, I'll ask one more time, is anyone from the public would like to speak on this issue? Seeing no one else interested in speaking, I will close the public hearing on the above stated matter. And Justin, if you'll come forward in case we have any questions.
Yes, again, Justin Wagner. Are there any questions that any of the commissioners have on this matter? All right. At this point, I believe if the board is ready, then you could proceed with making your finding under the statute.
Okay. Commissioner Peter John.
Mr. Chairman, since we're at this point, I think I will be happy to make the motion that this plan complies with all the relevant Kansas statutory requirements, and that I move that we take approve this and take all necessary actions to comply with the relevant state statutes.
Is that a good enough motion?
I think really that you just need to make a finding that the City of Goddard provided services included in the service plan. Maybe that's a...
You're a little bit more concise than I was, but I'll accept that as a friendly drafting modification. Thanks, Justin.
Right. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peter John.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Kelly. Next item, please.
Item D, consideration of an agreement between Sedgwick County and the City of Wichita for the transfer of the Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs grant funding in the amount of $123,370.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Colonel Richard Powell, Chief Deputy with the Sheriff's Office. I have before you this morning, for your consideration, an agreement between Sedgwick County and the City of Wichita regarding the transfer of certain funds from the Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, grant funding in the amount of $123,370. It's our recommendation, once this has been discussed and reviewed, that you approve the agreement as submitted and authorize the chair to sign. A little history on September 21 of this year, the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office was notified of a grant award in the form of a cooperative agreement from the Department of Justice to continue funding operations of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. This is an annual funding agreement that we've renewed several years back to back. The task force includes 2 detectives, one from the Sheriff's Office and one from the Wichita Police Department. The agreement provides also a sub-grant mechanism, whereas the county can reimburse the City of Wichita for grant-related costs of the Wichita Police Department detective and any other associated expenses as being a part of that Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. The amount to be reimbursed to the city will be no more than the amount of the grant itself, $123,370, again for all the costs related to that task force program and the Wichita Police Department personnel. The grant runs actually from July of this year, July 1 of 15 through June 30 of next year. As you'll recall, we've presented this many times. The Internet Crimes Against Children's unit that we have here in Wichita, Sedgwick County, is one of, I believe, 63 regional Internet Crimes Against Children's organizations across the United States. Our local ICAC office, housed downtown, also supports on a local level 29 affiliates across Kansas, affiliates defined as other law enforcement agencies and support organizations. A little bit of just historical information. Typically I talk about what we've done in the previous years and make comparisons and things like that. And there's been such a significant increase in some of the cases that we've seen this year. I thought I would bring you some information on things that are just year to date to make some comparisons about what we've done so far this year as compared to the entire previous year. And you're going to see some really interesting numbers. During the first half of 2015, first off, ICAC locally established some goals of their own. Their goals that they had established dealt with the identification of child victims being exploited by and through technology, and to somehow stop and arrest that victimization. Also, to properly investigate and prosecute those who sexually exploit children through the use of that same technology. Another goal, to provide training and equipment to those involved in the investigation and prosecuting process of Internet crimes against children throughout the state of Kansas by means of sometimes offering sub-grants, technology, and training to our 29 affiliates across Kansas. And also to provide community education regarding the prevention of Internet crimes against children. A few significant cases just so far year to date in 2015. An ICAC investigator recently investigated some downloads of child pornography that was going across the Internet. And the case actually started back in May of 14, and it continued on through the process. Eventually, search warrants were obtained for the residence of the individual that was being looked at. Investigators, upon the serving of the search warrant, learned the suspect had been collecting child pornography since 1995 and had an extensive collection of material on the computer media in his house. This collection was one of the largest ever seen by Kansas ICAC. Subsequent further investigations revealed both the suspect and his wife had been sexually abusing their own children. The suspect was arrested and charged federally with 1 count of distribution of child pornography and was subsequently sentenced to 20 years in prison. The wife was also arrested and charged with 2 counts of aggravated indecent liberties with a child. A total of 5 warrants, 3 state and 2 federal, were completed within this investigation. Another investigation, ICAC received what they refer to as a cyber tip made through a social media organization called Tumblr regarding the user who had uploaded a picture file of possible child pornography and was using a particular screen name. The suspect was identified, a warrant was executed on the residence. The user was found to be in possession of additional images reflecting sexual abuse of his own 8-year-old daughter. The suspect was arrested and charged with sexual exploitation of a child, rape, and aggravated sodomy. Another case, ICAC locally investigated a report made by a mother in Florida who located Facebook conversations on her 13-year-old daughter's cell phone that was sexual in nature. The suspect was identified as a prior teacher's aide from her daughter's school in Kansas. The family resided in Wichita, Kansas during the beginning of 2014, and after school was finished that particular year, they moved on to the state of Florida. After interviews were conducted and forensic work was completed on the 13-year-old's cell phone, it was learned the suspect continued his contact with the 13-year-old, requesting nude pictures of the 13-year-old and movies of the 13-year-old performing certain sexual acts. The suspect was eventually charged with 1 count of sexual exploitation of a child and 1 count of aggravated indecent liberties of a child. We talked about community education and trying to inform the public and our young people about these things and to be aware. Investigators presented what they refer to as an Internet 101 class for parents locally at the K-State Extension Center at 21st and Ridge, our extension building. The class was offered for parents to have hands-on practical knowledge and teachings of the venues that their children are using and looking at on the Internet. Another training event, we had an investigator from ICAC assisted with a presentation. He worked with a senior at a local high school. This senior shadowed the investigator as part of a spring mentorship program. The presentation consisted of her work, the students, and also other students involving their mentorship at the local high school. Another program called Operation Broken Heart. ICASC investigators were involved with 34 different Internet safety presentations to students, parents, and teachers as a part of this program, Operation Broken Heart, during the months of April and May of 2015, contacting more than 900 individuals in this education program. Again, we mentioned we have about 29 affiliate law enforcement agencies across the state of Kansas, and this year to date, they've added, let's see, it looks like 3 new affiliates, Dodge City Police Department, the Wyandotte County Sheriff's Office, and the Shawnee Police Department as affiliates. Before I finish up, I brought with me this morning our sergeant from the ICAC office. And if you'd like to come up, introduce yourself, sir. He has, if there's no objections, he has a couple comments he'd also make too. It's Sergeant Jeff Swanson from the Wichita Police Department.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. My name is Jeff Swanson. I'm a sergeant with the police department. I've worked for the department for 29 years now. I've been assigned to ICAC for the past 14 months. And upon my arrival there, I was looking at how the operation was being conducted, and I intentionally changed our mission from reactive cases, being when we receive a phone call, the police typically go out, we make a case, and then we conduct the investigation. The crime's already happened. What we've done since I arrived is we started going proactive. We develop these cases in advance, and we go after these people instead of waiting to hear what they've done. As a direct result of that, to date this year, we've recovered over 30 children who were being sexually abused, that those crimes were never reported to the police. So what I'm saying is this is money well spent. We intentionally go after these people. They are going to hurt our children, and those effects will last that child's entire life. Last week we taught an undercover Internet crimes class. We had 24 students in that class, and during that class we developed 6 targets, 6 predators, 3 of which have already been arrested. That's not bad for a training class, when we can actually train and conduct the actual investigations during the training and have a result at the end of the training. I ask for your continued support, and I thank you very much, and would take any questions that you may have.
Commissioner Norton?
Well, I don't know that I have any questions, but thank you for being here, Jeff. We really appreciate the work you do. I'm very proud to say that EMCU, ICAC, our human trafficking folks and division, the DA, a medical provider, and forensics, pediatricians, DCF, and an educational component will be soon going into the Child Advocacy Center that's the old Lincoln Elementary School. And it's be around a $7 million project that will completely refurbish that. And you have to know that these men and women that do this work are now in the basement by themselves in the state office building. It's been vacated by everybody else but the Child Advocacy Center, EMCU, ICAC, and some human trafficking folks. It's never been the best scenario for children and families, but I'm proud to say that Sedgwick County stepped up helped with the funding at $1 million level, and that's going to happen this next year. It's going to be world class. It's going to tell our community, the state of Kansas, that we're serious about these crimes. And you know, Colonel Powell, you told us about 4 of them. One of them is too much. And 4 is just the minimal ones that you had the time to talk about. There's many, many, many more. And I appreciate how hard you work. It scares the bejeebers out of me that we have that going on in our community. It's our dirty little secret. But the men and women of the Sheriff's Department and Wichita's Police Department, the DA, other law enforcement agencies, and DCF are making sure that our kids are taken care of responsibly and that their parents and the perpetrators are taken care of in a criminal fashion. So thank you for what you do, but I'm pretty proud that next year we're going to have you in a space where you could even do better work. And we'll be honored to have you in a place that looks like you're pretty important.
Actually, in my new office, I have windows. I'm very excited.
I think you'll be on the 2nd level. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Well, I've been into the area in the state office building, and you can paint as many flowers and mushrooms on walls as you want to. It doesn't make that building kid-friendly, family-friendly. And what people don't know is that families show up there with the abused child, but many times have other siblings that have to be taken care of and put to the side to be out of that situation, and many times have to be interviewed. And it needs to be a very warm, family-friendly atmosphere to be able to solve these horrendous crimes. So I really appreciate what you do, but I'm pretty excited that you'll have new digs next year.
I am as well. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Peter John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sergeant, Colonel, appreciate it, and appreciate a rough getting an understanding what the situation looks like at your end today. I'm interested in terms of trends because, like Commissioner Norton pointed out, I mean, this is not only a dirty little secret for this community, but I mean, this is goes way beyond the borders of Kansas, way beyond the borders of the United States. It's a worldwide situation. And having said that, really would like to get some insight, Sergeant, if you can give us some kind of an overview in terms of how the where the trends are heading and whether they're good or bad, or so we have a better understanding from a policy making side of it, what we need to understand looking at this issue from our perspective on the County Commission.
I think the best tracking mechanism to understand the overall picture is through cyber tips. Cyber tips are called in by internet service providers, they're called in by parents, members of the community, of concerns with regards to child exploitation, child human trafficking, child pornography, distribution, that type of thing. In 2013, there were 750,000 of them called in to the National Center, which is the National Clearinghouse, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. In 2014, we had 1.5 million. Year to date, we have 3.8 million for 2015, if that's any type of indication.
That's a huge indicator. Do you have any idea in terms of locally are we seeing the same doubling every you basically described a situation where it's doubling every year, and let me put it this way as a practical matter. If somebody's hearing our dialogue right now and says, hey, I have something I'm concerned about, I'd like to get in touch, what should they be doing if Sergeant?
To get in touch with our office?
Sure.
Our office, the best way to get in touch with us is through calling 911, the Sheriff's Department, or the Wichita Police Department. We have our number, which is 660-9447. That goes directly to my office. You can contact us through the National Center or the ICAC website, or any ICAC, depending on where you live. But I think most of the contacts come through the National Center. But the world is much smaller than it used to be before the Internet. An example, last month, 2 months ago, we received a cyber tip from New Zealand about an image of a child that was posted on a Russian website. that was a child from Sedgwick County, Kansas. And within 24 hours of us receiving that information from the National Center, we actually had the perpetrator in jail in Sedgwick County. He had manufactured, he had uploaded, he had sexually abused his child. But it's worldwide. I currently track about 47 different categories. Year to date, I've exceeded almost every one of them, in some cases doubled them from last year. I don't know what the answer is besides education. Parents educating their children. Go to the National Center, go to netsmarts.org. There's a lot of public information out there for children to help parents educate their children. There's a lot of information out there for parents. Parents, you know, we know about Facebook. We may know about Twitter, but we may not know about Kik. We may not know about some of these other social networking sites, and there's literally hundreds of them. Get into your child's phone. You pay the bill. Look to see where they're going. Monitor what they're doing. These people are out there. We get a lot of cases where children are self-manufacturing and distributing through sexting cases. There's a new trend out now called sextortion, where a child will self-produce an image, send the image out to somebody that they identify as an adult, and then extort them saying, you know, what you've done is against the law. You need to send me X amount of money to X account, or I'm going to go to the police. So it's a criminal enterprise in and of itself. There's the general knowledge of the social media sites and some of the peer-to-peer networks, but there's also the dark web out there that's used through the process of onion routers. That is extremely difficult to get into, and these people are very, very scary and very, very dark, and we have a lot of work ahead of us. But the key to it is parents being involved in what their children are doing, what their children are going, who their children are talking to, and them being aware of it.
Can you give us a little bit of a definition or more information about what you described as dark web?
It initially was designed by the Department of Defense as a way of securely and anonymously sending information from one point to the other. That system has now been transposed where information is partial information sent from one router to the other, and it's effectively anonymous. And in that place, there is narcotics trafficking, there's arms trafficking, there's child trafficking, there's sexual exploitation of children, and it's extremely difficult to get into. It's extremely difficult to investigate, and that's where some very ugly people are living.
I think it's important that we recognize the reality. There's certainly evil in this world, and when I look at the atrocities that seem to be committed on all too often on a daily basis, whatever we can do to try and keep this community safe, it's part of our responsibility as an elected body to try and help in that area. And any information that you can provide us and allow us to try and get out in the public, and anyone who's hearing our discussion this morning, I think is very helpful. So, Sergeant, Colonel, I should certainly appreciate having this update. And Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recommend that maybe this is something, when this is growing at a doubling each year, we're not quite to Moore's Law in terms of the expansion, but at this growth rate, this is an absolutely terrifying trend in my opinion, and I think we need a regular update so that at least try and get the word out for particularly parents and for young people to understand what the risks they have in this digital age. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Norton.
Well, to follow up on that, I don't think that we could be investing in this system at a more opportune time in the community's history. It is expansive internationally, nationally, and locally, but now is the time to increase capabilities, facilities, partnerships, working relationships, because this will not solve itself by itself. There are many entities out there that deal with this. Certainly the CAC, the Child Advocacy Center, will have plenty of information. They do education programs. They have a website that can give you all kinds of information and tips about how do you identify child abuse, how do you report it, what does it look like, what are the key factors that you need to be looking for in a neighborhood or in a family or in a business that might indicate that there's some child abuse, neglect going on. The Kansas Children's Service League deals with child abuse and those issues. And the Junior League put together a website called childabusewichita.org that has information, national information, all kinds of parenting tips, understanding the issue in our community. So there's plenty of resources out there. And as we get this new facility built, because it's an old elementary school, there's going to be plenty of educational kinds of facilities in there to do symposiums and conferences and parenting training and training with our law enforcement, criminal justice system to make sure that we bend the curve on this in our community. It is not easy business. It's scary business. In fact, I've worried for years about the young men and women that have to do this all day long. I don't know how you do it. My hat's off to you, because it is very sad business to be wading into that muck day after day after day. But thank you for what you're doing, and once again, I'm pretty excited that we're going to turn the corner and really push this issue in our community in the future. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Colonel Powell, Sergeant Swanson, thanks for being here today. Please extend our gratitude to everybody on your staff for all the work that they do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion we take a recommended action.
Okay.
Second.
Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Colonel. Next item, please.
Item E, establish 2016 Sedgwick County holidays.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I'm Eileen McNichol, your HR Director, and you have before you today a resolution establishing holidays to be observed by Sedgwick County for 2016. Sedgwick County will observe 10 holidays in 2016. This set of holidays matches the set to be observed by the District Court, with the exception that they observe Columbus Day as a holiday, and we use that day for in-service training. So the 2016 holidays are New Year's Day, which is Friday, January 1, 2016, Martin Luther King Day, Monday, January 18th, 2016, President's Day, Monday, February 15th, 2016, Memorial Day, Monday, May 30th, 2016, Independence Day, Monday, July 4th, 2016, Labor Day, Monday, September 5th, 2016, Veterans Day is on Friday, November 11th, 2016, and for Thanksgiving, the holidays are Thursday, November 24th, and Friday, November 25th of 2016, and then we round up the year with Christmas Day on Monday, December 26th, 2016. So if you have no questions, I would recommend that you approve this resolution.
Commissioners, what's the will of the board? Commissioner Peterjohn?
I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next item, please.
Item F, acknowledgement of 2015 Public Service Champion Award to Brent Shelton.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Chris Cronus. I'm your Chief Financial Officer. Each year, a company called Thomson Reuters, which is a major publisher of books and software about various government services, announces its Public Service Champion Awards to public servants who have performed exceptional service in the field of tax administration. They have 5 categories in which the awards may be provided: Jurisdiction of the Year, Office Holder of the Year, Excellence in Business Process Transformation, Excellence in Office Leadership, and Excellence in Constituent Service. I'm pleased to tell you that on October the 2nd, Thomson Reuters announced that Brent Shelton, Sedgwick County's tax system coordinator, had been awarded the 2015 Public Service Champion Award in the Excellence in Office Leadership category. He is one of 8 individuals that received Public Service Champion Awards throughout the country this year, and we're very pleased to have him working for us. I would characterize this award, the Excellence in Office Leadership Award, as the Herding Cats Award. Brent's job as tax system coordinator is to oversee and coordinate the efforts of 5 separate county offices that share responsibility for administration of the ad valorem tax system. 3 of those offices are headed by elected officials, and so as you know, and as people can imagine, very often those 5 individuals, each of whom is very strong-willed, have different ideas about how business ought to be conducted, and it's Brent's job to negotiate those waters and make sure that the tax system that funds not just Sedgwick County, but all 100, more or less, governments in Sedgwick County which rely on ad valorem taxes, make sure that that system works effectively and efficiently, and he does that very well. His nomination was provided to Thomson Reuters by Karen Bailey, our deputy county clerk, who is one of the cats that Brent is responsible for herding. And I would ask her to come up at this point and tell you about her nomination and why she felt it was appropriate for Brent to receive this award.
Good morning. Karen Bailey, Sedgwick County Clerk's Office. I don't know about being a cat. I'm just going to let you know that I did have a nomination for Mr. Shelton. It took me 2 years to get him an award. I think that he deserves it. But part of the words that I sent to Thomson Reuters talks about the history where he was involved in the initial development phase, which started with the request for proposal. He visited some on-site software users to see what they were using in their departments and what was working. He helped develop our what we call gap analysis. What doesn't fit in the box software that you buy? What do you have to do to make it work for our county? He worked with the appraiser's office, the clerk's office. He actually worked in the clerk's office at the time, and the treasurer's office to receive all of our data from the conversion of the mainframe legacy data through our preliminary testing, on to implementation, the headaches that we had, and all the testing and case documentation to our final go live in 2010, and then we actually had full tax rolls that year. Brent has been the lead individual in keeping our county above board and on task to maintain our property tax accountability for all of our citizens. The multiple facets of the taxing parcels and property is guided by statutes, which of course change as our legislators change their revisions. The communication between Thomson Reuters and Sedgwick County has been channeled through Brent to maintain our focus on tasks and duties and allow our departments to concentrate on serving our citizens. Providing that continuity of service throughout the tax year calendar has proven very beneficial and has decreased the number of issues during our tax roll process because of our dedicated testing and practice tax rolls before our, what I call the big kahuna of tax rolls in November. Brent's ability to help each one of the departments, including our IT department, through their respective responsibilities has been proven to be very effective and efficient management for our Sedgwick County. So I would like to take this opportunity to re-present his award as he received it in Fort Lauderdale at our national convention. Congratulations.
Well, thank you to Chris and thank you to Karen for the nomination and for the support that I've received over the years working with the Property Tax Administration. When I tell people what they do, they say, you must be a really popular guy. When I was first notified that I was going to be the recipient of this award, I thought, well, that was kind of easy. And then I got to thinking, well, it really wasn't easy, but it's part of a simple process. And that process is that I'm part of a pretty phenomenal team of people that all get together and work together to achieve a common goal. And I think the thing that makes the team that's involved with and supports our property tax administration phenomenal is that they demonstrate a couple of county values day in and day out. And that's accountability and commitment. They're not just accountable or committed for taking care of their own individual responsibilities, but they're accountable for and committed to making sure that the organization meets its goals. So whether they're involved in valuation, setting tax rates, sending out bills to collect taxes, they're all part of the same team. We're all working together to get this job done as efficiently and effectively as possible. And to quote Harry Truman, who once said that it's amazing how much you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit, today I want to share the credit for this award with everybody that does support and does administer the property tax in Sedgwick County. Thank you.
Commissioner Unruh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brent, I just want to express my personal congratulations to you on receiving this award. I think that this organization, Reuters, has just recognized something that we've known for a long time, that you are a high-performing public servant and you exercise leadership and cooperation among all the various departments that you touch. And I think you represent actually the high standard and of performance that all of our employees endeavor to exhibit. So good job. I'm really pleased that you got this award, and you know, I've known your mom and dad and your brother for a long time, and I know they're just as proud of it as you are. So congratulations to you and your whole family for this great award.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Peter John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to second Commissioner Unruh's remarks and make a motion that we receive and file.
Second.
All right. And I'll also say congratulations and thanks for all the work that you and everybody else does. It's a tremendous honor, and we're fortunate to have you as a member of our organization.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. Next item, please.
Item G, report of the Board of Bids and Contracts regular meeting on October 8, 2015.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Joe Thomas, Purchasing Director. The meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts of October 8th results in two items we'd like to present to you this morning. First item is EMC Avamar Data Storage Upgrade Lease for the Division of Information and Operations. The recommendation is to accept the quote from Delaga Landon Financial Services Incorporated and establish a lease agreement for 3 years. Second item is the Nutanix Hardware and Software Solution for Division of Information and Operations. The recommendation is to accept the quote from Dell Financial Services, LLC, and establish a lease agreement for 3 years. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, and I recommend approval of both items.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Thomas, I mean, these are both sole source and they're also multi-year lease. How do these compare to our previous agreements with these two companies? I assume they're renewals of existing agreements. Am I correct in that assumption?
I'm checking to see if we have the figures from the last time of the lease real quickly. Yeah.
The Avamar lease is a little bit higher. The Nutanix is new, so there is no past record. The Avamar lease is a continuation of a 6-year. We've leased from this company for 6 years. This will be going on the 7th year. There is, I believe, about a $6,000 increase per year on the lease. The Nutanix system.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I believe it's about a $6,000 per year increase. It also doubles our storage capacity under the new leasing agreement. The Nutanix will be a new lease, so there is no previous precedent on that.
Okay, well, thank you. Let me just get your name also for the record.
I'm Wes Ellington. I'm the IT Infrastructure Director for Sedgwick County.
Got to get it on board. Thanks, Wes.
You bet.
Thank you both.
Commissioners, what's the will of the board?
I move we approve the recommendations of the Board of Bids and Contracts.
Second.
Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Consent agenda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Holt, Acting County Manager. Consent agenda items H through O. Recommend your approval.
Commissioners, what's the will of the board?
I'll move that we adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
Madam Clerk, call the vote, please.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. Next, we have legislative issues, which we don't have anything.
Don't
do
have
we?
anything, sir.
Okay. So we'll move to the other portion of our meeting. Commissioners, Commissioner Peterjohn.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did want to point out October 14th is an important day in American history for several reasons. Actually, both items I'm going to mention today have a Kansas connection. On October 14th, 1890, the 34th President of the United States was born, and I say this very softly, in Denison, Texas. That was Dwight David Eisenhower, who grew up and is Kansas's favorite son and favorite president. And on October 14th, 1947, a very important event occurred where something was broken that had never been broken before, and some said it could never be broken. Has also a Kansas connection, I believe, of sorts. During World War II, near the end, as the planes, aircraft that had been developed, got close to the speed of sound, there was an instability that occurred, and there was many who thought that you could not go faster than the speed of sound. It was going to be an impenetrable barrier, and a number of pilots, including some famous folks like de Havilland, Jeffrey de Havilland, actually died in crashes when their plane tried to approach that speed. But on October 14th, 1947, Chuck Yeager got in a B-29. I suspect we all know where the B-29s were being made, or had been made. And that B-29 took the X-1, which was kind of a rocket with a plane, a cockpit attached, a bullet with wings, some folks called it, and Chuck Yeager managed to break the speed of sound. And so October 14th was a very important day in American history, and I wanted to get that on the record today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Unruh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to kind of share with the Commission and with our citizens a couple of opportunities I had to experience what a great community that we live in. I know at least Commissioner Peterjohn was with me when we went to Meals on Wheels last week, and had the opportunity to not only hear about their operation and get some information about all the volunteers that are involved in that program, but I actually got to go out and deliver some meals to some of the citizens in the community that need that help and support. And it's really an encouragement to see how much these volunteers brighten the days of those who have to receive that help and support. It was a fun opportunity. I'm glad I got to be able to be involved. And then secondly, last Sunday, my wife and I were able to partake in the dinner at St. George Orthodox Church. It was their 82nd annual Lebanese dinner, and 82 years by itself is pretty remarkable, but it's also remarkable about how that church organizes and puts together their whole congregation to serve. I think they told me they had over 5,000 meals that they serve. Don't bank on that number, but big number. Food's delicious, so people are really working hard, and the money that they get off of that they pass on to local charities, one of which is their local private school that they have related to the church. And it's pretty amazing. A lady that we know was talking to us, and she said those youngsters in this grade school age are learning Latin and French, and they've completely memorized the liturgy of that church. And I don't know, just pretty impressive if you ask me. Not only the meeting, but the meal, and the whole operation and the way those folks were happily supporting their charitable work. So just wanted to share that with the folks. So thank you. That's all I had.
Commissioner Norton?
I just want to remind everybody that this weekend is the Hayesville Fall Festival. And, you know, a lot of the small towns have festivals and fall celebrations, and Hayesville has theirs this weekend. Starts with a parade Saturday morning. There will be a carnival, a car show, crafts, all kinds of entertainment on the stage in Riggs Park, and plenty of food vendors with roasting ears and funnel cakes and turkey legs and pronto pups and all kinds of fair food and celebration food. So if you're looking for something to do in this cool weekend coming up, I would say you can travel south to Hayesville and enjoy their fall festival. Most of the activities will be on Saturday, but there will be some on Sunday, and I believe there'll be an all-church worship service in the park on Sunday morning. So,
Commissioner Peter John?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to segue off of Commissioner Unruh's comments, because I did participate on the Meals on Wheels, but also we had some prominent local folks, both in the business and in the media side, who were participating in this event. And of course, Sedgwick County and the state of Kansas are both involved in helping fund Meals on Wheels. But I wanted to give a shout out to, in particular, some of the folks who I got to visit with at this event: Susan Peters, Dawson Grimsley, and Renee Stevens Brand. So just wanted to add those names for the record, because it was a great opportunity to see Meals on Wheels and talk with some folks who were participating in the program. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I'd like to say a few things about the action we took last week with respect to the WIC benefits. I think there just might be a little bit of confusion about a couple things. I'm not sure why. I know I was quoted on a couple things that I thought made it clear, but maybe it was a headline or something. But first of all, I want to make it clear that last week we did not reduce the amount of funding for WIC benefits at all. The amount of dollars for WIC benefits was not affected by this at all. We did, however, reduce the amount spent on administrative costs. So the reduction that we did last week was purely for administrative costs. Our assigned caseload in 2010 was 16,298 compared to 11,769 for next year. So that's a 38% reduction in assigned caseload since 2010. So the majority of the commission felt that with that significant of amount of reduction in assigned caseload, we should take a close look at our administrative costs, because they shouldn't stay the same or go up if we have a reduction by 38%. That being said, I'll point out that we did approve spending $1.9 million on administrative costs next year, which is still $100,000 more than what we spent this year. And that this reduction will not have any effect whatsoever on WIC participants' ability to receive their benefits, nor will it affect the amount of their benefits. I'll also point out that every year we spend less than what we're given. For example, last year or this year we spent $321,000 less, and so at the end of the year that money goes back and it's used in the future. This year we were just simply proactive. We accepted $350,000 less than what they wanted to give us, because quite frankly we didn't need that money to administer the program, and so that frees up that money sooner. So those are some. I think a lot of this stuff was in the coverage, at least in the Eagle. Maybe not all these facts, but I think there's been a little bit of confusion. This is just my attempt to try to make sure that people understand. The main thing is the amount of benefits that people are receiving was not changed by our action. It was purely an attempt to be more efficient and reduce the administrative cost to administer the program. That being said, I think we do have need for both a fire district and executive session today.
Yes, sir.
And so at this point, I'll recess the regular meeting Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners and call to order the Board of County Commissioners as the governing body of Fire District 1. Madam Clerk, first item.
Roll call. Commissioner Unruh.
Present.
Commissioner Norton.
Present.
Commissioner Howell.
Present.
Commissioner Peter John.
Present.
Chairman Ranzau.
Present. Next item.
Consideration of minutes. Item A, regular fire meeting minutes of September 12, 2015. Commissioner Norton was absent.
Commissioners, what's the will of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we adopt the minutes for the meeting of September 16th, 2015.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Abstain.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. Next item, please.
New business. Item B, establish 2016 Fire District Number 1 holidays.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. I'm Eileen McNichol, your HR Director, and you have before you today a resolution establishing holidays to be observed by the governing body of Fire District Number 1 for 2016. Sedgwick County will observe 10 holidays in 2016, and this set of holidays matches the set to be observed by the District Court, with the exception that they observe Columbus Day as a holiday, and we use that day for in-service training. The 2016 holidays are New Year's Day, which is Friday, January 1, 2016, Martin Luther King Day, Monday, January 18, 2016, President's Day is Monday, February 15, 2016, Memorial Day is Monday, May 30th, 2016. Independence Day is Monday, July 4th, 2016. Labor Day is Monday, September 5th, 2016. Veterans Day is Friday, November 11th, 2016. And Thanksgiving Day is both Thursday and Friday, November 24th and 25th of 2016. And we end the year with Christmas Day on Monday, December 26th, 2016. And if you have no questions, I would recommend that you approve this resolution.
Commissioners, what's the will of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adopt the resolution.
Second.
Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. Mr. Manager, is there anything else come before the Fire District?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll adjourn the meeting of the governing body of Fire District Number 1. Call back to order the regular meeting of the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners. At this time, I do believe we have need for executive session. Commissioner Peterjohn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session for 60 minutes to consider consultation with legal counsel on matters privileged in the attorney-client relationship relating to pending claims and litigation, preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real property for public purposes, and that the Board of County Commissioners return to this room from executive session no sooner than 11:05 a.m.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the vote, please.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Commissioner Norton.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterjohn.
Aye.
Chairman Ranzau.
Aye. We'll now move to executive session.
at a reasonable hour.
We're now back from executive session, and no binding action was taken. Sorry to interrupt to talk about the Kansas City Royals. I know it's important.
That's not what we were doing for the last.
No. Mr. Manager, anything else come before the commission?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.